Welcome to the 33 Degrees. This is a guided transformation designed to help you reset your mind and your heart and to show you how to tap into your God-given potential. Because you, my friend, have a gift. You have a purpose. You have a calling. And over the course of the next 33 days and these 33 degrees, my aim, my hope is to pivot your mindset 1 degree at a time until your life is set on an entirely new trajectory, far removed from the one that it's currently set on. So today, we're going to be talking about your mind, the subconscious, the conscious, and how our mind is like a garden, and how we need to become watchers of the gate, because everything you have in your life right now is because of what you think and how you think. But before we get into the later degrees where we talk about how to do the unprogramming and reprogramming and the unlearning and the relearning, we're going to talk about what's going on and how we got to the point that we have gotten to and why our life is the way that it is. Most people have no idea that you have a separation, a very real separation between your conscious and your subconscious mind. And that's what we're going to talk about today, because when you understand this, you will have a level of personal power that only can come from this awareness. So let's jump right in and let's talk about the mind. So why do we have the thoughts that we have? Where do those come from? Well, they're coming from the subconscious mind. And those thoughts are there because that's what was given to you and that's what you're working with, and you haven't gone in there and done the work to change the programming. The negative thoughts, the I'm not good enough, I'm no good at this isn't for people like me, it wasn't in the cards for me, like I can't learn that, blah, blah, blah. That is your subconscious mind feeding your conscious mind those thoughts, and you believe them. Your mind is like a garden. The subconscious mind is the garden. The conscious mind is you, the awareness, the gardener. So let's break down the difference between the gardener and the garden. I know that you know what a garden and a gardener is, but let's talk about how it applies to your conscious and your subconscious mind. So let me break this down for you like this. This right here is your mind. You have your conscious mind, which is the top half, and you have your subconscious mind, which is the bottom half. Your conscious mind is where your 5 senses are interpreting information. They're taking in the world, sounds, thoughts, other people's words, images, smells. The outer world is impressing the subconscious mind. The conscious mind impresses the subconscious mind. So that's that right there. That's the basic ground level. The subconscious mind expresses that which is impressed upon it by the conscious mind. And we're going to break this down in a minute. Just follow along. Whatever the conscious mind impresses onto the subconscious mind embodies this. The subconscious mind cannot tell you no. It doesn't know the difference between truth, reality, falsehood. No. The only thing it does is what you tell it. It believes anything and everything it hears. The subconscious mind will not, cannot reject anything you give it. So if you say, I'm a dirtbag and I'm no good, I promise you, subconscious mind said, okay. And then what happens? You embody that, and then that's your reality. The conscious mind impresses the subconscious mind. The subconscious mind expresses that which is impressed upon it, and that is our reality. So that's ground zero. That's the foundation. So think about how your whole life, especially the first 7 years of your life, you have all of this information coming in. You're not there guarding the gate. Like, there's no gardener yet. It's just a garden. And the outer world is your gardener. Your parents, your friends, the environment that you grew up in, societal norms at the time, your culture, all of that was dumped into your garden, and that's what grew. That's why it doesn't matter what color you are, where you come from. You could be removed from your family at birth, sent to the other side of the world, and grow up in a non-native speaking home and be a master of the language just like the locals. Because your mind only knows what it's trained. And you have been programmed by the world, and your subconscious mind is not the garden that we're going to make it. And that's what we're here to do. We're here to create a whole new garden. So now let's talk about how your mind is a garden. So what happens with the garden when you put seeds in it? The seeds grow. Your thoughts are seeds. Your 5 senses, taking in the outer world, those outer world inputs and social cues and stimuli, those are seeds. When you put a seed in the garden, it's going to grow. If you put in negative thoughts from the conscious mind, all these just, I'm not good enough, I'm no good, blah, 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 and the subconscious mind accepts it as true, what do you think is going to happen? You're going to create a reality where all of it just makes sense. Well, of course, this is the reality you have. Look at what you're planting in your garden. Every thought you have, every thought that you entertain is either going to be impressed upon the subconscious mind, or it is going to be thrown to the wind. You have to become the gatekeeper. You have to become radically conscious and aware of all of the information coming in and all of the information going out. Because this awareness is how we are going to reprogram. So let's take some accountability. We understand that the reality we live in is not what we want. Now we know that the seeds that we're planting are creating this. There's no way around that. So now we're going to take radical responsibility and accountability for our garden, and we're going to start planting new seeds, starting now. So just to reiterate really quick, your conscious mind is the decision maker, is the gatekeeper. Your conscious awareness can elevate, it can hover above the negative thinking that you're having, and it can look at it and it can assess it and it can go, okay, this is what we're going to do with this information instead. That is your power. That is your conscious awareness. That is your ability as the gardener to decide what gets planted in the soil. And now the subconscious mind, this governs 95% of your life. You live on autopilot. Everybody on planet Earth is on autopilot. The question is, what is your autopilot? Your reality that you live in right now is coming from your autopilot system. Once you change the autopilot system, in due time, the reality will follow suit. And before we go any further, I want you to give yourself a break. It's not your fault at all that you were, and understand this, you are programmed, you were programmed. You didn't decide who you were going to become. It's not your fault that you were programmed the way that you were, but it is your responsibility to recognize that you are programmed, you are on an autopilot system, and you do have all the power in the world to radically transform your entire life by becoming a very watchful keeper of the gate, standing guard to every thought, impulse, decision, social cue, and stimuli. Like, nobody gets to pass into this garden without coming through the gardener first. You have to be incredibly, ridiculously diligent. That's on you. So let's talk about how we're going to cultivate this new garden. What are we going to do about the weeds that are in here? What are we going to, how do we do this? What's the work look like? Glad you asked. So there's a few things to understand. All of the information in your conscious mind and your conscious awareness, your logical thinking right now, you processing this information as it's coming out of my mouth and going into your ears, that mind right there, that awareness is what you're going to use. That is your weapon. Your mind is the front line of reality. Understand that. The whole world, everything that you will ever experienced and are experiencing is happening in your mind. Your mind is the front line of reality. And your awareness is your greatest weapon. You're going to use, from now on, your conscious awareness to be very watchful. The information that ends up in your current thinking came from two places. It came from the outer world, either from your five senses picking up something in that world, or maybe through the collective consciousness, it came through there, but that we'll talk about the unconscious later on. Or the information that's in your conscious awareness right now, it bubbled up from the subconscious. So the conscious mind is filled with information coming in and coming up. Your job is to figure out, where is this coming from? Is this coming from the outside or is this coming up from the inside? Every single time that you have a thought on your mind that is not aligned with who you want to be and the life you want to live, you challenge that thought. For example, somebody offers you an opportunity to do something because they think you're well fit for this opportunity, but you don't think that you have the skills and that you're capable of learning how to fulfill on this opportunity. The opportunity that you heard about came into the conscious mind. The subconscious mind started feeding you information, telling you, oh, we're not prepared for this, yada, yada, yada. When that happens, it doesn't matter what you have experienced before. It doesn't matter what you want. You just have to ask yourself one simple question. Does this thought serve me? And the answer is 9 times out of 10, the thoughts that you're having do not serve you. If you have these negative thoughts and they're not the thoughts that would be the thoughts you would like to have when in this context or this situation, you simply tell yourself, okay, you know what? The unconscious thought that just came up from the subconscious mind that just came up to my conscious mind was, I'm not prepared for this. I don't have what it takes. That's my negative programming. Is it true? Well, it might be true that I currently don't have what it takes. It might be true that I'm not prepared as I could be or would like to be. But what's also true is that I'm capable of closing that gap. I'm capable of learning what I need to learn. I'm capable of becoming the person that I need to become in order to make this happen. That is taking the weed that popped up from the subconscious mind telling you you're not good enough. You saw that weed pop up and you said, no, fuck that. We're not doing that. And you pull that weed with your conscious awareness and you plant an entirely new seed. And now when you begin to end up in situations like this, where you're offered opportunities where you used to just tell yourself you weren't good enough, now you start to have the experience where the initial thought is like, wow, I remember I used to feel like this, but I'm learning to step into these with courage and confidence that I once didn't have before. And it's all coming because I've planted new seeds and I pulled out the weeds. That will be your experience, and you will have this happen to you in real time. And this takes repetition, serious repetition. Constantly impressing the subconscious mind with the kind of thoughts that you want to eventually just naturally bubble up. The beliefs that you want, the life that you want to live. Everything that you don't like about your current thinking, about the thoughts that bubble up, Just stop, pause, and reflect. Spend some time with those and start flipping them on their head. Start taking this negative talk and turning it into an exact opposite affirmation. And through the course of time, as you plant the seeds and continue to reiterate these ideas to yourself, you're watering that garden. You're giving it the shade, the sun. You're giving it everything it needs. You have to tend to that garden. You have to keep coming back to the garden and pulling the weeds. Because if you don't come back and pull the weeds, they're going to take over again. This is constant work for the rest of your life. For the rest of your life. But it's only extremely excruciating and painful and just, it's a bumpy road when you first get on this journey. Maybe a few months, maybe a year, but eventually you work yourself out of that. But this is serious work. Like, this is not for the faint of mind. This is not for the people who want to try to change their life. This is for people who have decided, I'm going to master my mind. I am going to master this human experience. I am no longer going to be a victim of my old programming. That's on you. But you're here, so you're doing something about it. So give yourself some grace. And give yourself a fucking pat on the back too, because this is not easy work. This is not an easy decision to make, to come in here, kick out the old gardener, and set an entirely new standard. That takes serious courage, confidence, and just an absolute will to transform your life. So kudos to you for that. So as we continue to progress through these degrees, your job from now on is to stand watch at that gate. Protect your garden. Do not let anything that you hear, say, think, none of it. If anything comes into your conscious awareness, whether it's coming in or it's coming up, and it does not align with who you want to be and the life you want to live, stop it. Recognize that what is coming in or coming up is not aligned, and you have to consciously, in that moment, not later, not next time it happens, right now, this second, take that thought and reprogram it. Pull that weed and replant a new seed. That's what we're going to be doing throughout the whole 33 degrees. And that's why we started with humility yesterday, so that you can be prepared for this part of the journey. It takes radical humility to stand guard at the gate. Because when you decide to stand guard at the gate, that's when you start to see the things about yourself that are creating this. And this is a reality that you don't want. So the things that you find out about yourself that are creating this are going to be things that you don't like to find out. You get that warm wash of shame over your body, or regret, or you just feel like shit. But you're here now, and you're committed to standing guard at the gate. Do not let a negative thought continue to bubble up over and over again without you stopping and doing something about that. And if you are having a hard time with this right now, and it's just not processing all the way, or you don't feel like you've got the tools yet, perfect. I don't expect you to hear this one video and have this all figured out. I expect this video to pop up into your mind a million times as we're going through the next 33 or through the 33 degrees. You will recall this conversation time and time again. I'm not going to ask you to recall it, but because we're having this conversation and you're letting this information in, it is impressing the subconscious mind, and the subconscious mind will express that which is impressed upon it. So I already know that if you're still here, you're not going to be able to help it. I'm going to say something later in these degrees, and you're going to come back to this, and then you're going to process, and you're going to remember. You're going to work through whatever it is that you need to work through. You'll figure it out. All you have to do is borrow my belief in you and stick around. So let me ask you, if I was to walk through your garden right now, what would I see? Imagine we could all see the weeds in your garden. Imagine we could see how disrupted your thinking is. What would that look like? How would you feel if you got caught naked, standing in the middle of your garden? We could all see what your garden looks like. Think about that. Another question for you. What is one negative belief or thought that you can begin to practice with right now? Whether I'm not good enough, I can't make content because I'm this or I'm that. Like, I don't care. Like, pick one and flip it on its head right now and begin to practice with it. And every time you end up in a situation where the negative thought that you're trying to pull out, that weed you're trying to pull out, anytime it pops back up, because it will, remind yourself through repetition that no, we've changed this belief. We've changed this negative thought about ourselves. That's just not true. And do that. And through repetition, you will begin to see what we're talking about take effect. And lastly, give yourself the time and the grace that you need. When you go plant an acorn, it takes couple hundred years to get that thing to where it could be. I'm not saying it's going to take you a couple hundred years, but I'm saying give yourself some time. I mean, just think about regular old plants. You don't go out and plant a seed and then come out the next day and you're ready for harvest. The amount of time that it takes to actually grow things in a garden is the amount of time it takes for these new ideas to take root and start to grow in your mind. So literally give yourself some grace and don't wake up expecting massive and radical changes overnight. It can and it will happen from time to time, but don't expect that. All right, guys, that's it for the third degree. I'll see you guys tomorrow on the fourth degree.